Good evening. It's 7 p.m. on October 24th, 2004. As we begin our Select Board meeting, I would just like to remind everyone that we are being televised and recorded by Sandwich Community Television. May we rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Anybody here for public comment? Okay. Review and approval of minutes of October 10th, 2024.
Make a motion we approve the minutes of 10/10/24.
Second?
Motion by Mr. George, second by Mr. Hochter. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, 4-0 unanimous. Town manager report.
Just a few quick updates. On Tuesday night, the Finance Committee met and we went through the warrant as our primary goal. So we'll go over those when we get to the most recent draft. But in short, the committee voted to support all the articles that are still listed in the warrant. And then our next meeting is in 2 weeks on, I want to make sure I get the date right, November 7th. And then I really only had one other update, and that's we did get confirmation this week that our application to become a green community was formally accepted, and I think the board remembers there were quite a few criteria we had to meet, and it took a while to get those done, so that's all been approved. So I want to thank all the different committees that helped us do that, but especially Leanne Drake, our Director of Community Services, Community Development, who spearheaded that whole effort. And I know she and Heather, because of this designation, they're all going to meet with the right department heads to see what project we could fund with the funds that looks like they're going to be made available to us this year. And that was it.
Thank you. Any questions for Bud? Okay. Correspondence, statements, and announcements. I have a few, if you don't mind. The School Safety Committee met on October 17th. Discussions related to door locking devices and the scheduling of school lockdown drills. Progress. On October 22nd, the Finance Committee met. A discussion and movement on special town meeting articles, update of fiscal year 2026 budget process progress. Last night, school committee. The Massachusetts Association of School Superintendents has awarded the Sandwich Middle High School senior Will Lodge with their certificate of academic excellence. Meanwhile, Will participated in soccer, baseball, the Sandwich Soul Singing Group, the Knights Theater Company, and has served as a member of the Superintendent's Advisory Council since he was in the 7th grade. Will is an outstanding young man in whom our community should be proud. The committee then approved a successor contract to Dr. Marushak from July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2031. Congratulations. Progress was reported on the Sandwich Public Schools strategic planning process. The Massachusetts Association of School Committees annual meeting will be held on November 6th. Bert Fisher was chosen as the Sandwich representative. Tracy Goodwin will serve as the alternate, and Chair Dr. Susan Miller, will also be in attendance. Sandwich Middle High School Athletics Department update was provided by Director Sean Donovan. An outstanding display of artwork produced by the Sandwich students is being shown at the Sandwich Arts Alliance downstairs. Just a reminder that on Sunday, the Sandwich Police Department will conduct their annual trunk or treat with the assistance of Citizens Police Academy volunteers at Heritage from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's always a good time. You're urged to attend. And that's all I have. Yes,
I got one thing. Just a point of information. The other day, I was talking to Bud on 6A and Tupper Road, the intersection there, in front of the deli. I've been noticing the cars coming down the hill, and it's a race between the left lane and the right lane. And so Bud was going to try to contact, our departments and see if we get that done in the state. And as I left the town hall, I ran into a gentleman from the Mass DOT out there measuring things. So I stopped, talked to him, told him what my thoughts were, and he said, well, for your information, we're going to be putting a left-hand turn in front of the deli when you come out of Tupper Road, and the other lane will go straight across. And I told him the problem we're having was the hill coming down from like Stop and Shop. And he sat there and watched a minute, and he saw many races where the cars in the right-hand lane were trying to beat the left-hand lane onto 6A and almost get an accident. So he made a note, he's going to bring that to the safety committee and see if we can get a right-hand turn there only. And then the other thing I mentioned to him was Stop and Shop, the crosswalk, where we had 3 people get killed there a few years ago, and we tried to get lights there, flashing lights for the crosswalk, and the state would not do it. So I mentioned it to him, and he said, my God, he said, why not? So he's going to bring that to the safety committee, I guess this week, and see if they can get a flashing light up there like they have on the service road. They put the crosswalks up there, but won't do 6A. So just a point of information, hopefully we got the 2 left and right turns coming, and maybe we'll get lucky and get the flashing lights and Stop and Shop. So, okay?
thank you.
Yep.
Anybody else? Okay. Yeah, please.
Sorry, I should have mentioned this in my report. I know the Army Corps is mobilized for the 111 project. There were some double checking some of the pipe issues, so I had heard today that it might be early next week before the actual dredging starts. So they have a couple more things to do with the pipe, but it's coming.
Okay, thank you.
But I was down there today, and I asked the same question, and they said, yep, everything's going along good, and probably first of next week they're gonna start it. So they're ready to go almost.
Yeah, the dozers are still parked.
Oh, yeah, right in the front.
I look at them and keep
Yeah.
on driving. Yep.
Yeah.
Interesting. No, they do nice work, though, Great Lakes. I think we'll be happy. Okay. Public hearing. Annual fees and charges, all departments, including Marina, Natural Resources, and Inspections Departments, in accordance with Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 138. The Sandwich Select Board will hold a public hearing on Thursday, October 24th, 2024, at 7:05 p.m. at the Historic Town Hall Auditorium, 130 Main Street, Sandwich, Mass. 02563, for the purpose of reviewing the town's schedule of fees and charges as provided under Section 2.60 of the town's bylaws. The Select Board is considering promulgating new fees or revising existing charges.
Make a motion, we open the public hearing.
Second.
Motion to open the hearing made by Mr. George, second by Mr. Hockter. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, 4-0. Okay, folks. You're up. One at a time would be great. Thank you very much.
Sandwich Marina is proposing that there's a rate increase on slip fees, looking to go up by $10 per foot from $135 to $145 on our recreational slip holders, and another $10 from $70 to $80 a foot on annual commercial slip holders. Summer recreational half slips will go up by $2.50 from $70 to $72.50. And then 6-month commercial leases will also be increased by $10 a foot from $40 to $50. Electricity, monthly electricity, we would like to increase from $15 per foot to $25. Again, the $10. And then small change to hourly dockage at the marina, just a flat fee of $25. It was a 2-hour minimum of $10 per hour, which accumulated to 20, and that was going to be reduced to 2 hours maximum stay, as we've noticed there's just a large increase in the amount of people trying to come in and grab lunch. These fees are I'd say they're on par with marinas in the area, with the exception of some private marinas like Provincetown, who's $350 a foot. Taylor's Point, about $133 per foot. Harwich ranges from 92 to 173 per foot. Barnstable is about $187 to $213 per foot, so about a 7% increase, approved by the Real Estate Division of the Army Corps of Engineers, who's done their own investigation into the price changes.
Okay, thank you. Anybody in the public have any questions or concerns?
I'm sorry, just for everybody at home, could you just introduce yourself? Just
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Nicholas Giordano, the Assistant Harbor Master here in Sandwich.
thanks. I know who you are, but everybody else. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you. Okay.
Do you want to vote independently?
No,
Charlie?
we'll do them all at the same time. That works for me.
Okay.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. Dave DeConto, Natural Resources Director and Shellfish Constable. If you remember last year about this time, I told you that I'd be back to look at increasing the license fees for shellfishing. If you look at the second page from my handout, you'll see that I've listed the cost of our program versus what we take in for license fees. The cost that you see here for last year, 2023 for $8,100, 2022, $7,200, 2021, $5,600. Those are all for the contaminated relay that we do with cohogs. The oysters that we grow come from a grant that's split between the county and the state. And as you can see, we only bring in about half revenue to pay for what our costs are. What I'm proposing is, and keep in mind, we haven't raised fees since 2009. The resident fee would go from $30 to $50. The resident senior for 70 and over would stay at $0. We're going to eliminate the Massachusetts resident fee of $55 because most towns just do resident and non-resident now. So the out-of-state, which will now become the non-resident, will go from 80 to 100. Native Americans stay at 0. We have one commercial eel permit for 100. And of course, under the Veterans Program for the state of Massachusetts, any veteran in Massachusetts can get a license, can get a shellfish license at the resident fee. So if they're under 70, it would be the resident. If they're over 70, it would be free in Sandwich. And I believe this would help cover the program. We've been covering the program by a grant, by a donation from a local business that is going to be used up this year.
Thank you, Mr. DeConto.
Oh, and one other thing that I'd like to add is, because I'm in front of you tonight, I thought it'd be appropriate, if you do accept these fees, to also vote to allow me to open the shellfish beds when the Division of Marine Fisheries tells us that the testing is clean, so I won't have to come back. We're hoping that we'll open on December 1st, and we'd like to start selling the licenses November 4th.
Okay. Does anybody in the public have any questions for Mr. DeConto? Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
As Brendan comes up in the back of your packet, because it's a little harder to read the spreadsheet, there's a blown up copy.
We appreciated that. Thank you very much. You're up, Brendan.
Good evening, gentlemen. Brendan Brides, Building Commissioner. I'm going to start with the residential building permit fee schedule. We're looking to go from, normally there was a $30 payment for renewal or review of plans, and then the fee was assessed. We're looking to just change that from $50 per square foot, or for 100 square foot or any part thereafter, just to eliminate the two payments. We're going from 35 cents to 45 cents for decks per square foot. Reason being more detailed inspections due to considerable code changes. There's actually an extra inspection involved. Going from driveways from 25 to 50. Again, sometimes 2 inspections are involved, so we're asking for that there. Down at the sprinkler and fire alarm, smoke alarm and sprinkler, we're finding now that the fire department and the building department are going together, so we're increasing from 50 to 100 in each one of those. Alteration to existing condenser units, going from 30 to 50, simply to match the cost of a new one, new work, which is basically the same thing. Solid fuel wood pellet stoves from 50 to 75. We've been at 50 for probably about 20 years, and we're just keeping up with costs on that one. Going to commercial building permit fees. Again, the same thing, we're eliminating the $30 charge and just going $50 per 100 square foot for any part thereof. Demolition is going from 50 to 100. We're finding that we're getting a greater need for rodent reports, asbestos reports that have to be reviewed, and various other reports that are in the latest edition of the building code. Driveway, again, going from 25 to 50 to match residential. Solar panels going from 100 for re-roof and electrical to 150. There are 2 inspections involved at this point, so we're going up by $50 for the extra inspections. Okay, so the next thing is the certificate of inspections. We've kind of revamped that whole thing. Up to this, the costs for the annual certificates of inspection were pretty much all over the place. So we've come up with a formula of $100 for up to 100 occupants, and $300 for 300 or more occupants, and so on, $800 for 300 or more occupants. There are very few places with 300 or more occupants. I think Riverview School might be one, but in actual fact, by adopting this permit fee, we will be giving Riverview a reduction. Their fee right now, for some reason, is even higher than this. At the end, down towards the end here, you'll see that short-term rentals is being introduced. So the latest building code that's coming out in January requires building department inspections on all short-term rentals. So we've come up with a fee here, a fee schedule of $150 for the registration and $100 for the inspection. We anticipate one inspection for the most part. There may be second inspections, and we put in $50 for the second inspection. But again, as I said, that's all new. There are we understand about 700 short-term rental units in Sandwich.
It's required every year on all of
It's going to be required every year for any freestanding unit, or every 5 years if there's a unit within a house, in a home. Next thing is the fire alarm and sprinkler. Again, we're looking to match the residential. We have 2 inspections, fire department inspection, building department as well. So again, down, we're changing signs from 25 to 50. We seem to be having more and more signs, obviously not in the residential, but there are more in the commercial area. Tents gone from 50 to 75 for, again, fire department and building department seem to be doing a number of inspections on these between heaters and whatnot as time goes by. Okay, so that's commercial. And then plumbing and gas, inspections by appointment. Occasionally we have people who want an inspection on a specific day. Sometimes it's a day that the inspector isn't available, so we try to facilitate as much as we can. But that is a call out for any of our part-time inspectors, minimum 3 hours for them in those cases. The combo inspections, we're going to one fixed, or a combo would be 40 per inspection. So if you've just got one plumbing fixture, it's 50, but if you've got a number, it goes to 40 per fixture. Electrical, going from 100, new construction 100 to 200. So the new energy code is creating quite a few inspections, especially for the electrical inspector, between EV ready and solar ready and various other things like that that have to be reviewed. And again, there's a few more here in the EV. We're going 90 to 120 for ESS battery systems. Usually they can require up to 4 inspections. Going down to commercial plumbing, again, the same thing for a custom inspection, 175. It's a minimum 3-hour call-out. Gas, the same thing. And the same thing with the combo on the plumbing and gas in the commercial, as we did with residential. And electrical new construction, 100 to 200, again, energy code requirements. And down below, we have the inspection by appointment from 125 to 175 to cover the 3-hour call-out. And that's about it.
Thank you. Anybody in the public have any questions for Mr. Brides? Okay. A motion to close the public hearing?
Make a motion, we close the public hearing.
Second?
Motion by Mr. George, second by Mr. Hockter. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, 4-0. Okay. Now,
You want to do them separate?
sure.
Okay. Let's see. Make a motion, we approve all the marina rate fees increases for 2025 as presented.
Second?
Motion by Mr. George, second by Mr. Hockter. All those in favor?
Aye.
4-0.
Make a motion, we propose 2024 shellfish license fees changes as presented.
Second?
And we'll mention the opening dates too?
And the opening dates as we get approval from the state.
Thank you.
Second?
Motion by Mr. George, second by Mr. Hockter. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It's unanimous.
Okay. Make a motion, we approve the residential building fee changes, the commercial building fee changes, and the plumbing, gas, and electrical fee changes as presented.
Second?
Motion by Mr. George, second by Mr. Hockter. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, 4-0. Thank you very much. And thank all the presenters very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Old business. Vote to amend the license for,
Edge,
yeah,
where pizza?
yeah. Vote to, discussion to remove, or request to remove Edge Thick Square Pizza reference to license S2510. We have some correspondence. Any discussion?
Was there a liquor license attached to this?
Yeah, that's what there wasn't at the time. So I think what we were doing was trying to get one for the property.
Correct.
And so when the state worked on the special act, it was getting ready to be referred out of committee, and they double checked because that was identified in a separate paragraph, which I think I highlighted in yellow. So basically the state needs the board to approve removing that paragraph because Edge Thick Square Pizza left Sandwich, and they now have a hard location on Main Street in Plymouth. So it would just remove that property from the list that we had previously.
That's how I understood it as well.
Yeah, but was there, I was reading this, and it said 99 Route 6A, and then I've got underlined here 66 State Highway Route 6A.
Yeah, I think the big thing was for whatever reason, this one is tied to the business, not to a location. So that's why they wanted us to take it out. They were pretty adamant that unless we did this, like it was going to get held up further.
Okay. Just vote to amend, that's all, I guess.
Yeah, and the S2510, that's the name of the bill, that's the bill number for,
Okay.
yep.
I'll make a motion to remove it. Make a motion that we vote to amend S2510, remove Edge Stick Square Pizza.
Second.
Motion by Mr. George, second by Mr. Hockter. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, 4-0. Okay. Again, under old business, authorized taser replacement lease purchase fiscal year 2025, a capital R article. Bud?
Yeah, so this one's a little bit interesting. So in May, we approved, meaning the voters, $61,100 to replace all the handles for our tasers because they were going out of warranty. And up until that point, the way you upgraded them was changing the handle. Taser is a smart money-making company, so when we went to buy the new handles, they said, okay, we've done away with the handles, you have to buy whole new units. And I'm sure other departments are going to find the same thing when they go to replace what the way we had been doing. There's now brand new physical tasers we have to get. And ours are going out of warranty, so it's, you know, you don't want to have to use something and then, for example, a lawsuit comes along and it's not under warranty. So in speaking with the company, they said they would, working within our budget, they would let us replace all of them. So we're getting brand new tasers, and the $61,000 will cover about 2.5 years worth of the lease, which is great. And so we went ahead and signed the contract for the lease because we had the money appropriated. And Caroline Burke, our town accountant, wisely said any lease purchase over 3 years has to be just authorized by the select board. So we're not appropriating any additional money. We can pay the lease payments for over 2 years, but we just have to remember 2 years from now, we should appropriate the rest of it and just pay it off, I would think. But it really is imperative. It's, the whole concept of using as least force as possible to prevent someone from harming themselves or others. It works really well, and it's their first line of defense, really. So we just recommend that you allow the lease purchase for up to 5 years for the taser replacement.
Any questions or comments?
Okay. Make a motion to authorize the taser replacement lease purchase for a 2025 capital article up to 5 years.
Second.
Motion by Mr. George, second by Mr. Hockter. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, 4-0. Okay. Okay. November 18th, special town meeting warrant, finalize articles.
So just so that you guys know the requirements, so the last possible date we could post the warrant would be Monday, November 4th, but we never like to do it at the last minute. So the goal would be, if the board votes tonight to finalize the warrant based on the articles, which I'll go over in a second, and then allow any wording changes that town council might recommend so we can incorporate those. We'll make sure the warrants are posted probably next Thursday or earlier. So just to give the board a quick update in terms of the articles that we had been looking at, all of them are the same, except we had a prior Article 5, and the concept was that if the schools opened bids on their HVAC projects for Oak Ridge and Forestdale and needed a little bit of extra money, it would give us the flexibility to try to fund that so the project could move forward. So based on bids that were open, the price came in significantly higher than expected. And so bottom line is we don't have enough money to give them to complete that project. So it doesn't make sense to keep that article on the warrant. So we should take that off. The other thing I wanted to bring to your attention, 2 things. Finance Committee voted to recommend all 8 of the financial articles, so those are set to go. The Capital Planning Committee's recommendation on the 3 wastewater articles we took off because they're not meeting until after we have to post the warrant. So they're going to meet, but just, they'll announce their recommendation at the meeting, not beforehand. And then I wanted to show you that starting on page 8, I tried to honor the vote that was taken for the new charter amendments, even though they haven't gone into effect yet and, aren't legal yet. There's a provision in there that it asks for a brief summary of each article, and then I listed, because it matches up hopefully with what the motions would be, and the planned funding source, and then the estimated tax impact. And I think what's interesting is all 8 articles are being funded from other sources, so there's no tax impact on any of the 8 articles. And I just noticed that my summary that I prepared, I still had the old Article 5 in there, so I'll have to take that out. But the article about increasing the WIF, as the board knows, that's a 2-hurdle vote, one at town meeting and then one at the ballot next May. And so if you do the math, that additional 1% increase, which would only be active if town meeting approves it in a few weeks and the town election approves it next May, the average increase for the average valued home, which right now is valued at $667,000, would be $71 a year. So really, I think the warrant's pretty well done. John Giorgio went through everything. He really didn't change any of the wording. He wants to go through it one last time, but I would think by, I don't know if everyone's around next week, but by Monday or Tuesday, if people are available to come in and sign the warrant, we could do that. If not, I brought the signature pages with me if you'd rather do it tonight. I know Chief Miller's away but he's back next week, so he'll sign it then.
Oh, Patrick, you had a question?
I had a question. Why do we do Article 3,
Yeah, normally we wouldn't. So,
not in the context of the annual meeting?
yeah, so normally we wouldn't, but what we voted in May wasn't the right amount. So,
Because we had an increase in the rooms tax.
exactly. So we had more money came in. The former town accountant, Kathleen Barrett, had a good question to ask the DOR. The DOR gave her the answer. So once they gave her the answer, even though it was wrong, we had to follow it. And so when we went back and looked, we realized that the 3 groups were shortchanged. So what's listed here is the difference between what they got in May and what they should have gotten. So this will true up the number for this fiscal year. We already know what it'll be for fiscal year 26 because it's based on the books that we closed a couple months ago. So we know the amounts that it'll be next year that we'll have to vote in May.
So we'll visit this again.
Definitely, yeah.
That's what my interest was. When we were,
Yeah.
I raised this issue when we were raising the room tax. And I just think that when you look at the amount of money, and this is what I mentioned previously, you look at the amount of money that we spend in the initial individual departments on something like tree planting. We're just not, this is a lot of money going out. It wasn't always this much money. And I just think it would be worthwhile to revisit this, the use of these funds as part of, within the context of our annual requests. Because then you can compare it to something someone else is asking for.
And I can show you what the numbers are looking like for next year and what historically it's been.
Yeah, and I would also think that it would be incumbent upon these groups to come to us to say, this is why we need this money. Not to be giving them the money and then they're dreaming up ways in which to spend it in the future.
I like that thought.
So that's what I'm hoping we can do that for the annual.
We're asking for a receipt.
Okay.
I don't know if you want me to run through the articles quickly, just so the public knows what the articles are. They're all they're the same ones we've talked about for months, it seems like. But, oh, and I should check. I did, technically your legal name is still Board of Selectmen because the charter changes haven't gone through the legislature yet. It'll probably be a couple years the way things have been going. So I still have it listed as Board of Selectmen everywhere, not Select Board. I did ask John Giorgio tonight, and I haven't heard back yet, like, should I switch it to Select Board? So if he says switch it to Select Board, I'll switch them all to Select Board, but if someone asked, that's why it still says that.
It's just comical.
Understood.
Okay. All right, make a motion, we accept town meeting warrant for 11/18/24 special town meeting with the change to take out the old Article 5 for HVAC added with the new Article 5. Cover it?
Second.
Motion by Mr. George, second by Mr. Hockner. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, 4-0.
And if everyone's around next week, as soon as it's ready to go, I'll let you all know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Select Board meeting schedule.
And there are two things that Charlie and I have been talking about that I highlighted in yellow. So even though the special town meeting counts as an advertised meeting of the board, there is that charter provision that recommends we meet at least twice a month. So the way the dates fall with different things that are going on, the thought is, would the board be able to meet on Wednesday night, November 20th? It'd be 2 days after the special, but Heather and I are signed up to go to the Mass Municipal Association Fall Conference that starts on that Thursday. If you said we have to do Thursday, I'll back out. Heather can go, and I'll be here for the meeting. But that was one thought. And the other was, I was just thinking December 19th, there's a lot of stuff usually going on with the holidays. What about an afternoon meeting that day? Just a thought.
Okay, before we discuss December, I don't know why this didn't come into my head when we spoke this afternoon. I apologize. But Wednesday, November 20th is a school committee meeting right here.
We could meet in another building. We could figure that out if needed,
Okay.
if that's all right. Or we could meet earlier in the afternoon if you wanted.
Okay.
Whatever, we'll figure it out.
See how
Yeah,
that works
yeah.
out. Yes, okay, okay. Just wanted you to be aware that this room was being used that night. Okay. And the 19th, yeah, December 19th, that might make sense. The same way, we'll see what everybody's doing and who's available.
Okay.
Okay. Other matters not reasonably anticipated. I have none.
That's a good one. But I know we go through it once a year, but I got a couple calls in the last couple of weeks about some of the establishments that have liquor licenses.
Yeah.
We do the,
Yep, they're already working on that. The officer who's in charge and assigned to that is going to go before your annual list comes before you.
okay.
Okay.
I got one.
Anybody else? Sure.
I had somebody mention to me about body cameras for the police department. They got the tasers. A lot of towns, you're seeing them with the body cameras. We've never even talked about it or gone.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, we've actually talked about it quite a bit, and I think my guess is if you ask most of the officers, like, they prefer it as opposed to not. It's something we'd probably have to negotiate with the union.
Right.
But the biggest thing is it's more of it's more of an IT demand than it is on the police department. And so that's something we'd really have to figure out, because I think the cameras themselves aren't exorbitant, and there are some grants available where you can pay for at least portions of them. It's more like the IT capability and the policy of, like, how long do you save the video? And I think a lot of departments, especially smaller ones like ours, have gone to, or relatively small, have gone to, like, you don't leave it on all the time.
Right.
You leave it on when you respond to an incident. But it is something that we've talked about internally, but it wouldn't surprise me over the next few years if we work towards that. Because I think it seems like, I think there was a little hesitancy about it previously, and it seems like it's helped more communities than it's hurt.
Right. Maybe we could look into that and bring
Yeah.
it to the chief.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, the investment might be worthwhile.
Sure.
Okay. New business. Commission on Disability request to increase members from 9 to 11 and to appoint Joanne Lebhers as a new member. There's a little correspondence. Unfortunately, it's not personally signed, just by the commission in general. Shane, not to put you on the spot, but do you have any input into
No,
this?
I didn't actually, I was going to reach out today, but I got tied up this afternoon to ask for their opinion on this. It seems like a lot of people. But, I mean, they're asking for it themselves.
Well, it's illegal, it's below the legal limit,
Right,
still, at
Right.
11.
right.
They may have some difficulties getting people to qualify all the time. It's some interesting criteria, as we're still looking for a town employee to sit on the board, Shane, right? On the commission, I should say,
Right.
right? But you know, I don't have an issue myself with the increase to 11.
No.
I agree.
Okay. I'll make a motion, we appoint Joanne Lieberwitz to the Commission on Disabilities.
And that we increase the number of members.
And increase it to 11, I guess, yeah. Okay.
Second.
Second as amended. Motion by Mr. George, second as amended by Mr. Hockner. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, 4-0. Okay. Other matters not reasonably anticipated by the chairman. I have none this evening. Anybody else? Okay. Anybody for public comment?
Nobody here.
Okay. Closing remarks? If I may, let us please continue to maintain those under attack in Eastern Europe and the conflict in the Middle East and the overall threats to world peace in our thoughts and prayers. A lot of people are suffering. It's a shame. Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Mr. George, second by Mr. Hockner. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Our next public meeting is November 7th here in Town Hall at 7 PM. Have a good evening, everyone.